Hey everyone, welcome back to English with Tom and Julia, the podcast where we explore life, language, and the quiet lessons that shape how we see ourselves and others.
Here, we believe English learning isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. It's also about learning to understand feelings, the words we say and the ones we don't.
And today, we're opening up a topic that touches almost everyone, that strange, heavy feeling of being close to your family, but somehow feeling far away. So, let's talk about when you feel distant from your family.
Sometimes you can sit right across from your family, sharing dinner or watching TV, and still feel like you're living in two different worlds.
Exactly. You hear the words, you laugh, you nod, but inside, you feel unseen. Like you're speaking a language they don't quite understand.
And that's the strange thing about emotional distance. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds slowly, through years of small misunderstandings, of things we never said out loud.
Yes, it's like emotional dust. You don't notice it at first, but one day you look around and realize everything's covered in silence. So, why does that happen? Why do we drift away from the people who once knew us best?
I think part of it is change. We grow, we move, we learn new ways of thinking, but our families sometimes still see us as the child we used to be.
Yeah, when you visit home after years away, they might still treat you like the teenager who needed advice, not the adult who has their own opinions now.
Exactly. And that mismatch can feel like rejection. You're not trying to push them away. You're just trying to be seen as who you are now.
And for some, that distance isn't about growth, it's about hurt. Maybe words were said. Maybe love wasn't shown the way you needed it.
Or maybe they didn't know how to love you. They did their best with what they had, but sometimes love without understanding still leaves scars.
That's true. Love can be present and still feel incomplete. Can I share something personal?
Always.
A few years ago, I realized something strange. I was calling friends every day, texting, checking in, but I hadn't really talked to my dad in months. So one evening, I decided to call him. It was awkward at first. We ran out of small talk in 5 minutes, but then he said something that stayed with me. He said, "I thought you didn't want to talk to me anymore." And that broke my heart, because in my head, he was the one pulling away. But really, we were both waiting for the other to make the first move.
That's so human, isn't it? We think distance means they don't care, when often, they're just afraid of being unwanted.
Exactly. Love doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it just hides behind pride or fear, waiting for someone to open the door again.
When you're a kid, connection just happens. You share the same space, the same meals, you talk about nothing, and it's enough.
But growing up changes everything. We build our own worlds, our own routines, and suddenly, family time becomes something you schedule.
And with that, the rhythm changes. We start seeing our parents less as caregivers and more as individuals, with flaws, stories, and even pain of their own.
That realization can be both freeing and painful, because you start to see that they were never perfect, just human.
Yes, and once you see your parents as human, you can't unsee it. It changes the way you love them. Maybe less idealized, but more real.
So, what can we actually do when that emotional distance feels too wide?
I think the first step is to stop waiting for them to change. Sometimes, the bridge starts with one person choosing to walk halfway.
And that doesn't mean giving up your boundaries or pretending everything's okay. It just means showing up with compassion, listening, even when you disagree.
Exactly. You can say, "I don't see it the same way," without closing your heart.
And sometimes, it's the little gestures that rebuild connection. Sending a photo, asking how their day was, sharing a memory that makes you both smile.
Yeah. You don't need deep conversations all the time. You just need to remind them, "I still care."
Because love isn't always grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just staying in touch, quietly, even when words are hard.
And maybe we can start to love them for the way they try, not just for the way we wish they would.
You know, lately I've realized something. The more I accept that my family might never say the things I wish they'd say, the freer I feel.
That's a beautiful kind of peace. Because acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of expectations so love can breathe again.
Yes, when you stop needing them to be perfect, you make space for grace.
And it's funny, the moment you stop trying to fix your family, you start to feel closer to them.
Maybe that's what healing really is, seeing love in the imperfect ways it shows up, like a quiet message, a shared meal, or even a memory that still makes you smile years later.
Sometimes, love doesn't need to be said perfectly. It just needs to be seen.
So if you're listening right now, and you've been feeling that silent space with your family, please know this: you're not broken, and neither are they. Distance happens to almost everyone. It doesn't mean the love is gone. It just means there's something waiting to be understood. Maybe tonight, you could take a small step, a call, a message, or just a quiet thought of gratitude. Not to fix everything, but to remind your heart that connection is still possible.
And even if they can't meet you where you are, you can still love them from where you stand. Love doesn't always have to be mutual to be meaningful.
And one day, maybe, when the timing is right, you'll both find your way back to each other. Not as the same people, but as two hearts that finally understand what love really means.
Take a moment, right now. Breathe deeply. Think of one person in your family you miss, even if it's complicated. What's one kind thing you could say to them today?
And if you can't reach out just yet, that's okay. Healing doesn't have a deadline. Just start by wishing them peace, even from a distance.
Love is energy. It travels, even in silence. It finds its way through the spaces we leave open.
Before we end today's episode, we just want to remind you, you don't have to have a perfect relationship with your family to have love. Sometimes love is quiet. Sometimes it's just the decision to keep your heart open, even when it hurts a little. And maybe that's what family really is. Not constant closeness, but a thread that connects us, even when we drift apart for a while. Yes, and that thread doesn't disappear when you stop talking every day. It's still there, waiting to be picked up again, whenever you're ready.
So tonight, if you're thinking about someone you miss, maybe just whisper a quiet thank you, or I hope you're well. Even if they don't hear it, somehow, the heart always does.
Because family isn't about perfection. It's about love that outlasts misunderstanding and the courage to try again.
Take that with you tonight. And remember, distance doesn't erase love. It just gives you space to rediscover it.
Until next time, take care of your heart and of the people you love, near or far.
Good night, and thank you for listening.